Ta-da.
You're on, dude.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Life Matters TV. I'm Tommy Stoffel, and Happy New Year. Happy to have you with us in 2015. I don't know about you, but 2014, I don't know where that went. It just zapped right by. But in the course of doing all that, we're up to show number 38, I think, today. And we've got our free-for-all episode coming up on the 40th, on our 40th show in a couple weeks. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, I'll introduce you to our topic today. We're talking about wishes. We're talking about setting intentions and what we can all do in the new year as we set New Year's resolutions. Well, we'll talk about some wishes that Dave and I have come to the table with, and I will, with that, introduce my partner and co-host here on Life Matters TV, the other soul guy, David McLeod.
Hey, good morning, Tommy. Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to all the people who are watching. And yeah, this idea of New Year's resolutions. You know, it's never really, it's ironic that the word, the whole concept of creating a resolution has never really resonated inside me, because most of the time, you know, I'll just say, oh yeah, I plan to do this, I plan to do that. I don't really have any clear picture of what I'm planning for the year. I don't really have any idea of what I want. So mostly they just turn into dreams that kind of fade off into the sunset and disappear into the ether. And so my resolutions don't really amount to much. And so, you know, I'm glad you and I were talking about this, and we thought, how can we make this a more powerful experience for ourselves and for other people? So I love the idea. I love the plan that you put together, and I'm just looking forward to seeing what this creates. So let's have fun with it.
Let's do that, as we usually do. So in the write-up, we talked about setting intention, right? And all the great teachers talk about the power of intention. Dr. Wayne Dyer had a whole show on PBS some years back on the power of intention and how important it is. And we always talk about the law of attraction, right? You put it out there, and then you attract that energy towards you. So that, you know, the New Year's resolution stuff has kind of fallen to the wayside to these other terms, and setting intention. And then another great teacher talks about thinking from the end. I know that comes in, I think, 7 Habits, and it also comes from other teachers as well. Wayne Dyer's too, but think from the end, right? So put out there into what you expect the future to look like. You think, you know, you want, what is the end result you want to see?
Right.
And then you start attracting it toward yourself. And I think when we had my brother Glenn on the show some months back, he talked about goal setting a bit and how to make them, how to set goals and how to write them in a way that they're present and that they're in the first person and that they're, you know, positive. And so we're going to practice some of those 3 Ps of goal setting today as well. Yeah. So I think the game, David, is to for each of us to kind of talk about one at a time our 3 goals that we came up with, put them out there, and chat about them a bit.
Yeah, that sounds like a cool idea. First off, I noticed there's a comment from Sarah Jane, and I just want to respond to that. She's saying, Happy New Year, David and Tommy. Well, Happy New Year to you, Sarah Jane. Just love the work you're doing, and I'm appreciating having you in our circle of friends, and loving having you here too. As you were saying, yeah, the idea, I think, why don't you explain a little bit more first about the process that you had us both go through as a way of helping, so that the people who are listening can understand more. Now, I wrote this up on our webpage, and people did get to see a little bit of that, but let's just talk about that process first, because you know I went through my little process, you went through your little process, and then after we've done that, then we can share what we came up with.
Yeah, thanks for bringing me to that. So I use the word the ask, A-S-K. It's a very powerful concept, and it's such a simple word. But it's this ask and ye shall receive. And if we ask for things that are going to help us evolve spiritually, inside, how we're going to learn things differently about ourselves and how we're going to be able to cope in the world and become more and more enlightened, all we need to do is really ask. And I know everybody out there has had this experience if you think about it. You've gone around and said, oh, I just need help in something. I need help with something. And then all of a sudden somebody gives you a book, or somebody tells you about a show, or somebody, you know, turns you to Life Matters TV. It happens all the time. We think they're coincidences, but they're not. The fact is, it's a universal law. You ask for it, and you shall receive it. So this simple word of the ask is very powerful. And when I put this out to people and say, what do you want? And I call it the head explosion, right? Your head just goes bam, and it explodes out in so many directions because we think, oh my gosh, it's too much to think about. So what I do is what we do and what we did in this step is to say, think globally for a bit. Put your mind in this global space and think about the Earth and what we're doing on this planet and how we're all working together. And think about what people really need more of or less of in their lives. So it helps you kind of focus, and you can kind of think about what you see as the problems of the world or what people need help with, and to write down 2 or 3 or maybe 4 ideas that pop in. So that's kind of the flow of how we do this. And then to bring that scope in a little bit further, we say, okay, what about the people like immediately in your life, the people around you, your friends, your coworkers, your partner, the people around you in your sphere of influence? What do you think they could use more of or less of in their lives? And then your brain's going to do some things, you're going to feel some stuff, and you're going to come up with maybe 1 or 2 or 3 ideas. Maybe a subset of the big list, maybe something new. It's up to you. And then that's how we kind of come down and say, okay, now we've got your brain, your mind, and your heart thinking about what it is that's really important to you. What's really important to you out of those things? What really matters to you? And so that's one way of just stopping the brain explosion and really helping focus in on the layers and getting down to what's important and what matters. So that was the exercise we asked you all to do. Hopefully you had some fun doing it. David, did you have some fun doing it?
Actually, I did, and as you were talking about this, you mentioned about the head explosion. Well, that's kind of exactly what happened to me. And what I discovered is, as I started writing things down, the head kind of just settled down. You know, the head, it said, okay, you've noticed that thing now, and it's no longer having so much, I don't know, what's the word I want to say, distractive energy around it. And so then I was able to focus finer and finer and finer into the, what is it that I think that the world wants or needs. And I'm getting I had a huge list of things that I thought would be relevant. But ultimately, as I did that and I looked at all of the things on my list, I thought, what is the one thing that encompasses all of these things and helps to describe what I imagine the world wants or needs right now? And so I came up with this. Let me just pull this out of my list. So I made up a physical list here, and here is what I came up with. For the world, I want the world to experience healing into higher awareness through mutual compassion. I see so many things, so much suffering going on in the world all over the place. And, you know, strife and war and famine and starvation and you name it. I mean, there's everything going on in the world, and yet it really is unnecessary. I mean, I think we have more than enough resources all over the planet for everyone. And so why can't we raise our consciousness to become more aware of that and to share compassionately with one another? So that's my want for the world for this year, in a simple phrase.
That's beautiful, man. Thanks for putting that out there. And that energy that's going out there is going to start attracting that energy, and that's beautiful. And there's a lot of us in the same space of asking for that type of energy, that type of human compassion and to help us cooperate more and to help us come back to the nature of what we are. That's one of the things, you know, I feel is at our core. And there was a movie that was put out that I saw this year, last year now. I think it was either Be Happy or I Am. But there was a movie that talked about that human beings are, by nature, cooperative beings. And yet our head, our minds have, you know, that separate us. It's our minds, that's our ego mind that separates us from everybody else. And that collective human mind of separation has blocked our human nature of wanting to cooperate. So your ask there of mutual compassion, what a beautiful way of putting it. Yeah, I can't put that better. And in some of the training that I'm involved in right now, developing that compassion is a big part of what we need to do. So yeah, and healing into higher awareness, to me, that means that people are more waking up, right? Becoming more aware. Yeah. More and more people becoming aware. How does that resonate, and how did you feel about when you wrote this?
Well, I mean, what can I say? This is the work that I do. This is the path that I'm on right now, so it very much resonates for me. And there's nothing I'd like better than to see a whole world full of people like you and me who just, you know, care about each other, love each other, and just keep spreading the message of love to everybody. You know, that's not to say we never have our, you know, ego challenges or whatever. But we know how to deal with them when they come up. We do our best to say, oh, that's my ego trying to take over now, and then come back to our heart. unless you're aware of it, ain't going to happen. So that's where the whole awareness thing is really, really critical.
It sure is. Sure is. Kind of a great lead into my first one. Should I put it up?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to take a second here to. All right, here we go. I love this technology, man. And the way you have it running is so sweet. All right, I don't have number 1 on it, but I could. It's maybe I do. All right, so I'm in the same boat. I just kind of call it self-study is the new cool.
Yeah.
And by self-study, you know, obviously I'm talking about the turning in, right? We're always talking about turning in, studying yourself, getting to know yourself. And my wish for 2015 is that at a planetary level, this becomes hip. This becomes the new cool. People are like, hey, I hear this is going on. I want some of that. I want to figure out, you know, what I'm doing inside and how I'm, and it's directly the same thing you're saying, you know, elevating our awareness. And we receive, what I say, we enjoy mass realization. That self-realization is the only way to make things better.
Yeah, that's
because that's the truth of it.
Sure. And I love that little bumper sticker thing, the self-study is the new cool. That's clearly a topic for one of our episodes coming up, dude. We're going to have to, we'll make that a topic, I don't know, in March or something. By that time, people will have forgotten about it, but we won't because we are on top of it.
Well, what I think we should do, too, just aside for a second, is that we, as you write goals, and the idea of writing goals is to revisit them periodically. So, yes, absolutely, we should work these into our shows intentionally and revisit the goals to see how we're doing and how it's coming along. But yeah, so again, it's mass realization. Not everybody has to jump on board. We don't need everybody to do this, but there's a critical mass that we all know is going to happen. And once that happens, other people are going to be like, they're going to hear about it. They're going to like get curious about it, and you know how things go socially. People are going to want it. It's going to become like the norm. It's going to become the cool. It's going to become the thing that people just want to attract to.
Yeah, you know, as you're saying, it reminds me of the movie What the Bleep Do We Know? I don't know if you saw that movie or not, but there was a scene in there where, you know, the conquistadors are coming to North America and all the natives are on the land, and they don't even see all these ships because they've never seen ships before, so they have no idea what's there. They just don't even see them. They're not aware of them at all. And then the shaman is on the beach right next to all these people, and he sees the ships. And he's looking at these people saying, what's wrong with you? And he touches each one of them on the forehead, right on the third eye spot. And then all of a sudden, they can see it. And that's exactly this critical mass, this turnover point that you're talking about. You know, 1 or 2 people see it and they share with others. Those people, they may resist at first, but eventually some of those people that you share with start to see it too. And it just snowballs from there.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Thanks for that beautiful visual, because that's an amazing story. And yes, I own What the Bleep, and that's the extended version or something like that. But yeah, it's a brilliant movie, and that's a beautiful story. The shaman seeing the ships. Yep.
Yeah. So why don't you share with us your number 2?
All right. Number 2. This time I'll include the number in it.
Yeah, so this is the one for what we want for our family and friends and those people closest to us. And so Tommy's just going to copy and paste here and share his, and in a moment we'll see that come up in the chat box there. And
a lot of the people that I consider closest to me, David, are people like you. I mean, I've worked on building a community of the teachers and the coaches and the trainers and the healers that are here to help at this time on the planet. You brought up, before we started the show, the book The New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. And the New Earth concept is what I firmly believe is happening, and it's evolving. So in the case of when I looked at my relationships, my mind, my heart went to the people who are here to kind of evolve and bring us to that New Earth. And with that, that's where you and me, we're self-study trainers. We train people, and we become in high demand. That people who are looking for this level of awareness that you brought up, we're here. And just what you and I do right now, David, just the show that we have right now, is just preparing us for the masses. I mean, we talk to each other, we talk to we don't know how many people, but I look at this as training for myself right now. That I'm training myself, constantly training, to be ready when the masses look and say, we need to figure this out. Where's all our help?
Yeah.
And the big teachers aren't going to have, they might have the bandwidth, but they're not going to have. We all know that this is very interpersonal work, and so we need individuals like just like there's a liquor store in every corner now and a donut store in every corner. I see that being replaced by healing centers that are going to be on every corner.
Mm-hmm.
So that we're going to be our local community helpers, healers, shaman, whatever words that we feel called to use. We're going to be here and when the mass shift happens.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, and I definitely resonate with that one. And it's interesting, when I did this, I had a slightly different perspective. I thought about family and friends.
Nice.
And to me, I agree with you. The people that I think of as members of my family aren't necessarily just the ones who have a blood relationship with me. There are many people in my circle that I consider family that are members of my family of choice, if you like, where I have chosen these people and they have chosen me, and we've mutually come together in a kind of a community that you described, and I've got so many of those people in my life and so many connections like that. And yeah, I want to create that sort of thing too. But in addition, I'm also thinking about what it means to connect more deeply with my family and friends. So that's my number 2, is deeper connection, intimacy, and conscious play. And when I say conscious play, I mean I want to enjoy myself, and I want my friends to enjoy themselves, but I want us to do it in a way that doesn't have a negative impact on anybody else or on the world, or that we're consciously looking at how we're showing up as we play. And I think that most kids, if you think about the innocence of kids when they play, they're not going out of their way to damage stuff. They're not going out of their way to make to pollute rivers or anything like that. They just do what feels natural. And there's a way in which that's kind of a symbiotic relationship that they have with the universe, and they don't even realize it. Well, I want us to get back to that. I want us to get back to that natural sense of, recognizing that we're part of a whole, a part of a big one, if you like, and that's kind of what I'm thinking of when I describe that.
And again, man, that's beautiful. Deeper connection, intimacy, conscious play. That all resonates, and what pops into my head is this. And you kind of equate it to back to being a kid, and sometimes I say this, I'm like, I want to get back to being me.
Yeah.
I want to get back to being me as I was as a kid. Mm-hmm. That element of me that was innocent, that element of me that was into cooperation and an open love and the intimacy and the play, the playfulness in it. So you're right on, and that's yeah. I wish that for everyone close to me and the whole planet as well, brother. That's a beautiful way to say it.
Yeah. Thank you.
And we have the ability, right? I mean, look at what we're doing right here with technology.
Yeah.
There used to be a point when you could walk around your village and speak and and if somebody liked what you were saying, they'd listen to you, or maybe they'd start following you, and you'd have a little group. But we have the ability to reach this entire planet just with this broadcast right here. And so we have the technology to help us develop this connection. To create the connection, and then it's up to us to deepen it and to have it and to make it deeper and more meaningful. And I'm doing this with my hand at my heart, because that's where the connection really is and where it really matters to me.
Yeah, that's an important point, and I agree with you about the technology. At the same time, there's a lot of, how shall we say it? There's a lot of noise in the technology, and somehow we have to rise above the noise. Oh, bless you, brother. I hope that doesn't hurt. So you have to raise yourself above the noise, or we have to do that. And so that means we need the help of all the people who are following us right now to keep spreading our message to other people who are willing to hear it. And eventually we will rise above the noise. And that's really what I think you're talking about here. Using the all of the technological amazing stuff that we have out there to help us deliver our message to the people who really need to hear it.
Absolutely so. And most of the things we talk about in our talks, if we take those ideas, like the one we did about quit your bitching, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you take that and you start looking at and sifting the stuff you're taking in off wherever it is, the internet, the news channels, whatever, and you start filtering it through these sifters of quit your bitching, for me it's pretty easy these days to see who the complainers are, who the judgmental people are, who the prejudiced people are, and I filter that and I don't let that come in. I turn the channel, or I don't watch it, or I don't do things.
Right.
And that's what, hopefully, as people watch this and get some of these filters in place. At the same time, we're trying to be transparent ourselves, but we need to, garbage in, garbage out. We need to filter some of the crap that's out there, so we're not taking it in. Because regardless of how spiritually aware we are, our brains are still computers, and they're still kind of recording devices, and they're still recording stuff. So all that said, that's I'm not sure how we got there, but that's the gist of being conscious and being aware and watching what we take in.
Yeah. Well, as long as we're on that topic of connecting to people, one of the things I want to add to this list, even though I'm not going to write it down, I want to just set the intention out there and put out to the universe that I want to have 100 viewers on our live show by April 1st. Actually, let's make it April 18th, because that's our anniversary.
All right.
That's my want, and my intention is to have 100 live viewers on our show by April 18th.
And you're talking about the show that you and I are going to do in person live, where we're going to have an audience.
No, I'm just talking about having 100 live viewers on this channel sometime during that time. That's my want. And we can get more specific about other stuff later.
All right.
All right. So what about the personal one?
So my personal one isn't all that, well, it is personal, but it comes in the flavor of, and I'm sorry, let's get it in here. Let's see if it fits.
Oh, it'll fit.
So my personal one has to do with you and me, brother.
Yeah.
That this show, and you just set the intention for it, right? That the Soul Talk guys, David and Tommy, and I'm going to give my friend Josette Prevost, she kind of called us the Soul Talk guys on one of her comments back to us, and thanks Josette, and I love the term, so David and I are going to start using it, that we become a nationally syndicated show. Put it out there.
Holy Jesus, I could feel my butt quiver on that one.
But we do, man. We banter back and forth. We have some fun with it. We take, sometimes deep, serious issues that people need to hear about, and they actually want to. People want this.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
And so the word's getting out there, and we're talking about the snowball effect here. So why not ask for it? If self-awareness and self-study is the new cool, then we're going to be an outlet and a source for those people, for everybody. And this show is going to be not only affecting 100 people by April, but it's going to be affecting 1,000 people, thousands of people per month by the end of the year.
That's pretty awesome, dude. I love that. Thank you for putting that out there. You're a braver soul than I am, I have to say. But I wanted to mention, the Soul Talk guys, you're right, Josette, I think her name was, she dubbed us with that name, and I absolutely loved it, and I decided to steal it. So what Josette doesn't know is that we actually now have a Twitter channel, or a Twitter account, and that's our handle, Soul Talk Guys. So you can start following us on Twitter now at Soul Talk Guys, and we will be posting all messages and stuff like that. And get your friends to follow us too, for goodness sake.
Put it out there.
Yeah. So, well, I love that. I love that, and I agree that all of the things you say, I mean, you and I are so much on the same wavelength pretty much all the time, and I think that's what makes this show work. We're on the same wavelength, we have a similar sense of humor, and we're not afraid to say what's in our hearts, and I think that's what really makes the big difference for people. So, in a way, by doing that, I think what we're doing is we're helping people give themselves permission to start doing that in their own lives. Showing up as who they really are, sharing the truth of their heart, and not letting themselves get too caught up in what's going on in their heads. So thanks for sharing that again, Tommy. I appreciate it. Uh-oh, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Do you have number 3?
Oh, yeah, you want me to put my number 3 on there now. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, you're not getting out of it.
All right, so here's what my number 3 came up with. And this is kind of a vulnerable thing for me to say, especially on live show here. And this is obviously going to, be on recording, so it's going to be there forever and ever, but this is my commitment or my desire for myself. Here you go. Spiritual and romantic relationship with a compatible, playful, self-responsible, highly conscious woman. Wow. I'm putting that out there, dude. That's something that I'm really trying to create for myself this year.
That's a beautiful ask, man, and may that happen for you. It helps, it helps having somebody there that you can bounce ideas off of and you can talk to and you can share at this intimate level with. It definitely helps. There was a brilliant book I read many years ago now, probably 15 years ago, by a woman named Cherry Huber, and the book is titled "Be the Person You Want to Find."
Oh, I like that.
And so often we have, and we can talk about lists at some point in the show, but we have these lists in our head of what a person is supposed to be. This imaginary list, and we talked about lists before, and then we walk around trying to find that perfect person. And Cherry in her book talks about, you've got to be, if you want somebody that's has these qualifications and these certain standards, and then you've got to be that yourself. And so again, it comes back to being who we need to be. And there's Miguel Ruiz talks about it too in a wonderful book called The Mastery of Love.
Yeah, I have that book.
He talks about being the individual, and for me, I kind of do this, and I have this talk with people sometimes that, a lot of us walk around about half a person. We're still figuring things out. We're kind of stuck in, the bottom half is kind of stuck in, mired in the muck, and part of us is clear. But only when we meet, we're going to meet our equal is kind of what it is. And if we're still stuck in stuff, then we're going to meet other people stuck in stuff. But the idea is to get yourself as clean and clear as possible. And then I believe, and I've kind of proven this for myself, that when I got to a place where I was ready to meet that other being, that other being showed up. And
yeah, that's pretty amazing. Yeah. Yeah, and I like what you were saying with this hand thing, not the half a person. A lot of people go into relationships like that, thinking that I need to find someone to complete me. Life just doesn't work that way. If you don't believe you're a complete person right now, then you're just never going to find the right mate. And I know that's true for me. And I'm very happy with my life for the most part. This is the only piece of my life that isn't as fulfilling as I would like it to be. Is having a romantic relationship with a beautiful, sexy, playful, self-responsible, highly compatible woman, someone who can help me on my journey and who wants to be on the same path. That's really what I think it's all about. So that's kind of why I put it out there that way. And I guess what I'd like to do now is kind of summarize and invite our viewers to kind of finish this process for themselves. You want to take that on?
Well, sure. I mean, the idea here is that we've set intention. And intentions are very powerful things because by nature we are creative beings. By the power of our thought energy and the power of our emotional energy, you know for yourself that when you focus your thoughts and you put your heart into something, you make it happen.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing here today. We're taking what we think and we're putting a lot of emotion into it. We're intending it. We're setting it out there. And if you do this, I promise you, whatever you're putting out there, that's the law of attraction is going to start bringing it to you. And so just watch and be marvelous and be in marvel when things start to happen for you. I'm going to be in marvel when NPR calls us in maybe November. So. Yeah,
I think that's awesome, dude. Well, this is, again, as always, has been a fantastic time spending this time here with you, Tommy, and sharing what we see as important things for our world, for our family and friends, and for ourselves. and hopefully all you viewers are getting something important and valuable out of this for yourselves too. So next week we're going to be talking about a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and I know Tommy loves this one too. It's called "You Can't Think Your Feelings." So we're going to have some fun with that one next week. And what else is coming up, Tommy?
Well, in 2 weeks, David, it's our 40th show. And on our 20th show, if you remember, we did something called the Free-for-All, where we asked you, our audience, to write in questions that you had. And we received a bunch of questions. We got through about 15 of them. So we're going to ask you guys again. David's going to send out an email asking you guys to send in your questions. What's bugging you? What do you need help with? What in life matters to you? Maybe this goal setting, this wish idea, brought up some things and you want to share those and ask questions. So please send us your questions, send us your concerns, what it is you're looking for help with, and in 2 weeks we'll have Free-for-All number 2.
That's going to be pretty awesome. And just a reminder, everybody, please check out our new website. It's www.life-matters-tv.com. That is life-matters-tv.com. And don't forget to follow us on our Twitter thing. At Soul Talk, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, and the other thing that you might want to know is, for those of you who are interested in getting a podcast, we have put our request up into iTunes, and it's going to be up there in a day or two. So we'll tell you more information about that. Meanwhile, Happy New Year to you all. Have a great day, and bye for now.
Bye, all. May your wishes come true. See ya.